So I'm Isaac. I'm a second year PPist at Univ. I use he, him pronouns. I'm gonna chair this hustings. So I'll just go over the format quickly. So we'll go through everyone alphabetically. You all have 1 minute to speak. After your time's up, I'll mute you. So please try and stick quite strictly to the timings because we've got a lot of people. So you just have 1 minute general speech, and then there'll be 2 questions to each of you, and you'll all be facing the same questions. And again, you'll have 1 minute to answer each question each. I will go alphabetically the first time, and then reverse the order. So to be fair, yeah. So just for everyone watching, this election is for the student trustees, who are students who sit on the trustee board of the SU and ensure they meet the SU meets its legal and charitable obligations. So, yep, there are 10 candidates for, I think, 3 positions. Voting opens tomorrow, Tuesday at 8 AM and closes on Thursday at 6 PM. And the voting link is available on the SU website by Googling Oxford Student Union /leadership elections. Okay, so that's enough from me, I think. So we'll go straight into the speeches. You'll have 1 minute to speak, as I said, and I'll meet you after your 1 minute is up. So going alphabetically, if we could start with Andre, that would be great.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Andre Intoskovic. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a student at Brasenose College studying the MBA program. The reason I'm standing for election today for this important position is because I think I bring the right mix of qualifications, experience, and stewardship to be able to be a good advisor and a good benchmark for the management team and for the colleagues who are sitting around the table. My background includes serving as president of the Graduate Student Society at Queen's University in Canada. And through that, I learned very quickly what it's like to be at that particular board and to make the decisions that need to be made when you represent all the student body. And through that particular process, I think I can bring a certain level of experience. Additionally, I've spent a lot of time in academia and in the professional world, which I think would be also useful. Thanks for your time.
Amazing, thank you very much. Okay, next we'll go to Bethan Adams. You've also got 1 minute.
Okay, thanks. So hi, I'm Bethan. I'm second year geographer at St. Cat's. So I've held various positions of responsibility at uni, such as co-leading my college geography society, and I'm president of Tower Street Homeless Action. Through undertaking various activities, I'm ever more passionate about breaking student barriers to studying, volunteering and taking part in sports. So I chose not to include specific proposals on my manifesto because I felt it would be more effective to adapt our board strategy once we have met as a team, given the many other trustees and sabbatical officers. And yeah, I didn't want to make promises that I couldn't keep, but I feel that my volunteer experience and love of taking on new projects proves that once we have a strategy in place, I'd be extremely proactive in implementing these goals. So I really hope you'll consider me for this role and can guarantee that I'd be an active and trustworthy board member and committed to maximising the impact of the SU. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you so much, Bethan. Next we'll go to Daniel Grimmer.
Sorry, I had my mic off. Hello, my name is Daniel Grimmer, he, him pronouns. I'm at Pembroke College currently studying philosophy of physics. Prior to this, actually, I did a PhD in physics. And so I've been a graduate student for the last 5 years. And in my previous graduate studies, I was on the board of directors for the Graduate Student Association at the University of Waterloo, which is a very, very similar position to what this student trusteeship would be. And I got lots of great experience there dealing with strategic planning and corporate governance and fiscal responsibility, and really very similar work over there, which I feel would make a great transition over here. I'm very passionate about student government work. I'm currently the Humanities Division representative on the Humanities Divisional Board for graduate students. So I'm already at Oxford doing good work.
Great, thank you so much. So next we'll go to DT Goal.
Hello, my name is DT Gobel. I use she, her pronouns, and I study biochemistry at St. Catherine's College. I am experienced, independent, and student-oriented. If elected as your student trustee, I have 3 main objectives. Firstly, I am pledging to lobby for greater investment towards student welfare. At the moment, only 21% of the total annual budget is spent on student welfare. Secondly, I'm pledging to campaign against the potential increase in overseas student fees. The University of Oxford can only remain a place of inclusion and diversity if everyone is given a fair chance to study here, regardless of socioeconomic background. Lastly, I'm pledging to make the student union more accessible and transparent. Above all, I'm pledging to prioritize you, the students. If you share my vision, please vote DT for student trustee. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So next we'll go to Isabel Creed.
Hello, I'm Izzy Creed. I'm a PhD student in Teddy Hall in theoretical chemistry. I want to be student trustee because I want to change things at Oxford and improve 3 aspects of student life, which is welfare, sport, or greater university emphasis on the benefits of sport, and access. I currently am the leader of a campaign one of the leaders on the campaign called End the Eating Disorder Crisis now, which is trying to kind of act on the current crisis in Oxford for students with eating disorders and nationally. I'm also the Secretary for Science for Labour and have been helping the government the shadow cabinet by giving scientific advice throughout the pandemic. I'm also the welfare rep for sport and the MPLS rep for chemistry. So I've had some reasonable experience in doing this, so please vote for me.
Great, thank you so much. So next we'll go to Maciej Nowakowski.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maciej. I say good morning because it's always morning somewhere in the world, and I'm all about representing everybody. So, I actually, before doing this current post as the college rep for the Oxford Diplomatic Society, I was actually the only international representative for the student faculty representation and my undergrad studies in Hong Kong. And I was able to develop a lot of different events, such as cultural events, welfare resources for a lot of students, and bringing local and international students together, which is also a thing that I want to improve in Oxford as well, especially during the coronavirus pandemic. I also have been very active in the media aspect of things at Oxford. I'm a contributing writer to the Oxford Student and the Oxford History Review, so that means I have my pulse on Oxford student life. So if there's any kind of issue, any kind of matter that needs to be done, I will be able to represent every single voice at Oxford, regardless of background. So make sure you remember that when you're casting your vote.
Excellent, thank you so much. So next we'll go to Marcus Dott.
Hey everyone, I'm Marcus and I'm a human rights lawyer from Australia who's ready to fight for you. I know what a trustee's obligations are and how to represent with care and skill. I know how to push hard and I know how to speak the truth and bring people into what we're doing. I've represented students before in all sorts of ways and I'll do it again with you. The union's biggest challenge is structural. Not enough students know our union and rally with us. The university takes advantage and has gotten too comfortable with telling us no. They step on you, they step on me, they step on our leaders and our advocacy. Like a cold lockdown winter, they freeze us out. They wait for time to pass, campaigns to fizzle, and positions to change hands so their plans, money, and power can stay the same. This is their power advantage. If you're ready to send in an icebreaker, then send in me, because I've done it before and I'd love to do it again with you.
Great, thank you so much. So next we'll go to Nelson Ferrandez-Serrao.
Thank you. Friends, colleagues, we are all brutally aware of the circumstances we are facing. We need strong representatives now more than ever. As a young carer, I know the value of trust. I take decisions on a daily basis for my father, and I am entrusted to do so. But I know that this trust is a two-way relationship. You vest your trust in me, but I must repay that trust by being as transparent as possible. The SU must do the same. Unions of all kinds make far too many decisions behind closed doors. Yes, there are sensitive elements, but these are the exception, not the norm. The union must be available to you. The union must be accessible to you. The union must represent you. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. So second to last, we'd like to hear from Otto Barrow. Otto, I think you're muted.
Can everyone hear me now? Wonderful, starting now. Greetings, my name is Otto Barrow, pronouns he, him. I'm a second year PPAist at Magdalen College. I've already represented students within my subject, within the politics and philosophy undergraduate joint consultative committees, and want to get broader experience in the work of the student union. To be trustee delegate requires commitment and organisation, and I think I have the skills and the track record to be an effective advocate. There are two things that I want to achieve as the Oxford SU trustee. Firstly, to improve transparency, and secondly, to increase the accessibility of SU material. On the first thing, the SU does many amazing things, which I'm in the process of discovering, and we need to be better at communicating this to students. From my own experience trying to find out more about this role when considering applying, it was incredibly difficult to go through various pages of the website to actually find out the sort of budget and the various minutes. And I think if I was elected, I would look through to promoting some of the projects we're doing in consultation with other bodies throughout the university. In addition to that, I'd also like to look into translating student material into other languages. Oxford has an incredibly international student community, and it's important.
Thank you very much. That's your minute. That's up. And finally, Wesley Ding.
Hi everyone, I'm Wesley. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a second-year law student at Somerville College. I'm running for student trustee because I believe that together we can build a better Oxford. So I have three main goals for the year. First, Oxford needs to be a more inclusive place for all students. I'll work to lobby for an inclusive curriculum and for the university to uphold its commitment to trans students. Second, I will focus on student well-being and lobby the university to adopt exam and teaching policies which adequately consider personal circumstances. Third, I'll work to build a more transparent student union and hold regular drop-in sessions to make sure that students can voice their concerns. Of course, and a very important part of a trustee's duty is to ensure the strategic success of Oxford SU as a charity, and I believe my experience serving as chair of council at Oxford SU has given me the knowledge necessary to carry out this role successfully.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's great to hear from you and some fantastic introductions. So now we're moving to the next part of the hustings. So I'm going to ask each of you two questions. We'll go through in reverse order from the order we've just been in, and we'll do the first question and then the second question. In each case, you have 1 minute to speak again, and once your time has elapsed, I will mute you. So if we can go back to Wesley again, my question is, what is your understanding of the role of student trustee, and what would your priority be in the role?
An important part of the role of a student trustee is to ensure the strategic success of Oxford SU as a charity, and to ensure that the charity makes adequate long-term plans. And I think my experience as Oxford SU Chair of Council has given me an opportunity to work with a lot of different parts of the SU to fully understand how these institutions work.
Thank you very much. So next we'll go to Otto.
Thank you for the question. So I think the most important, so the role of sort of student trustee is sort of oversee the sort of workings of the student union, and I think that can include sort of that obviously that includes sort of the finances, that includes being sort of part of the broader sort of SU executive. I think it's important when doing this to make sure that everything is held to account and everything has been done properly, and to also stand up for the interests of ordinary students, which ultimately we're all representing. I have experience with doing a similar role in various different charities at around the scale of the student union, and I think if elected, I'd be able to continue doing that with a focus on constructively criticising and ensuring that the SU can deliver the best value to students.
Excellent, thank you. So Nelson, what is your
thank you. So my understanding is that a student trustee must act in the charity's best interests. In the words of the Charity Commission, I have to be able to make balanced, informed decisions, but crucially challenge decisions that I don't feel are right. And as someone that has taken the government to court on several times and won, I know when decisions are wrong, and I am prepared to challenge it, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes for me to challenge it. If I, in my heart of heart, believe that the student union is not doing the right thing, I will challenge it.
Excellent, thank you very much. So now we'll go to Marcus.
My understanding of the student trustee role is first and foremost that the trustees act in the best interests of the students and the public as a charity. That means that the trustee ensures that the charity follows its purposes for the public benefit, that it complies with its legal obligations as well as its own governing documents. Acting in student best interests has a number of different elements: legal, financial, risk, and representative. But most importantly, student trustees have to deal with care and skill, and I'm more than experienced enough to do that. My priority is the 2021 strategic plan and the strategic direction that's set at meetings and subcommittees of the board. We need stronger advocacy, and I'm happy to push for it.
Great, thank you. So now we'll go to Maji.
Yes, I believe that the role of the student trustee in many ways is acting as a messenger for the people, because in many ways you are acting as a representative for their public interest, for their public benefit. And that means actually utilizing a lot of different strengths and pushing them into one specific direction. What that means is that this is not just about talking to certain committees and dialoguing with them, but it's also utilizing different mediums. In fact, many of the roles that can either come from complaints or constructive criticisms, as I'd rather like to call them, or media, or the financial aspect. You are being put into certain directions. What I would like to do is actually, merge them in many ways. Give, for instance, media platforms for people to voice their opinions or complaints in some ways. So it's never limited to just one aspect. The role of a trustee is very vast and very broad, but also very focused.
Great, thank you. So next we'll have Isabel.
Can you hear me now? I think the role of the trustee is to ensure that the SU is carrying out its purpose for public benefit, and also to comply with various governments and legal roles, as well as to ensure that the SU is actually accountable to its members, which I think is a really, really important point, that, students have to feel that the SU is accountable to them and are on their side. And I think if I was student trustee, I would ensure that the SU really did act and try and force the university to move on issues that are really important to students, be it the abysmal access that Oxford University likes to pat itself on the back for, saying how brilliant that it's only got 43% of private school people and 7% of the UK go to private school, or the terrible welfare issues that exist within Oxford University. And I would ensure that the SU act to actually start to change what is, in some situations, really.
All right, thank you very much. So now we're into the second half of people. Just a reminder that the question is, what is your understanding of the role of student trustee and what would be your priority? So next, DT, if you'd like to answer.
Thank you. A student trustee is responsible for the financial oversight of the student union and guiding the strategic direction of the organization, essentially what we're trying to achieve in the future. As a member of the trustee board, we are responsible for ensuring the student union is acting in the benefit of students, improving their education experience, and remains a catalyst for positive change. Ultimately, the Oxford Student Union aims to empower its students and the Student Trustee Board ensures the student union is capable of doing so. To the second part of the question, my priorities. My priorities are pushing for more investment in student welfare, strongly opposing the potential increase in overseas tuition fees, making the student union more accessible, campaigning to increase the number of massively open online courses, and making the student union more transparent. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So next we'll go to Daniel.
Hello. My understanding of the student trustee position is that it's a lot about due diligence and risk management. And on the larger scale, it's about strategic planning and trying to make big picture plans about, say, climate change or anti-racism, a lot of the big topics which we all know is very important. But even while you're doing this high-level strategic planning, urgent matters will come up. When I was on the GSA, on the board of directors at University of Waterloo, I was there when COVID started happening, and we had to maintain that we had the services that we offered students, like bus passes and healthcare and dental care and mental health and well-being. This all had to continue while we were trying to adjust all of this. So it was very hectic, boots on the ground, trying to rearrange everything to make sure that we could still deliver those services to our people. And so it's a mix of long-term and short-term planning, and it's just very hectic and engaged if you're doing it right.
Cool, thank you. So next, Bethan, if you'd like to answer.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I understand that at the kind of most basic level, it's overseeing the financial strategy and the legal compliance of the SU. But I guess as another level, I feel like it's got a lot of potential to act as kind of a connection point within the SU. And this is something I feel that I could bring through my experience through Charles Street. So yeah, I guess I'm directly involved with long-term planning, the budget. So I feel that that could be really useful, and I know how to connect with a lot of other organisations. So I feel that I wouldn't go in necessarily with my own projects that I want to pursue because I don't feel that that's the role of a student trustee, but I feel that I'd kind of listen to what all the other sabbatical candidates are working on and try and maximise the board's kind of potential to put them in place.
Great, thank you so much. So finally, we'll hear from Andre.
Thanks. With regards to the role itself, I view it as a stewardship role. So a role which is responsible for essentially ensuring that the student union runs sustainably and is positioned in a way where when we leave that particular position, it's stronger than it was when we arrived. When it comes to policy issues, clearly, I think we have all discussed very, very good policy issues, but I leave this to the politicians, to the sabbatical officers. I think our role as student trustees is to make sure that there's prudence and proper fiscal planning that goes forward. There, my experience, I think, speaks for itself. The work that I had done sitting on boards of trustees, sitting at the University Council, the board of directors of Queen's University, overseeing budgets of hundreds of millions of dollars, I understand that piece and also the risk elements. And so I think for my priorities, it's about strategy, making sure that the union has a good strategy going in and making sure we connect and take advantage of the fact that we need to feed into the university strategy going forward. Thanks.
Amazing, thank you so much. So we'll go to our next question, and again, I'll reverse the order. So Andre, I'll come to you first. So the question is, how familiar are you with the governing documents of the Oxford SU and its legal obligations as a charitable organisation? And again, you have 1 minute.
I've reviewed them, but I would not be as familiar with them as an official who has essentially been working with the student union. This being said, I have overseen a large number of boards of directors, and I'm very well versed in the articles of incorporation and board governing documents. I also understand the sub-organizations that fit within the student union and how their governance fits into the overall governance framework, as well as with the executive structure. And there I would maybe also just add that my experience also includes overseeing human resources activities And I think one of the things that we need to look at, and some of the other candidates mentioned it, is the fact that we have a large organization which has full-time staff, and we need to look at how healthy that approach is and how this fits into the overall management process. So I think the management processes as well as the governance documents play a key role hand in hand. Thanks.
Well, thank you. And again, we'll go to Beth.
Sure. So yeah, I wouldn't say I have a detailed knowledge of the governing documents, but again, I would say charity experience has meant I've been involved in not just reading over kind of policy documents, but also writing them up ourselves for to ensure the safety of our volunteers and that everything runs smoothly. So yeah, I feel that that's what I could bring. I also found the minutes documents, which were really interesting to see how it runs with all the different trustees. So I feel that I would learn quickly.
Cool, thank you. So again, next we'll go to Daniel.
Hello. So currently I'm in the role of Humanities Divisional Representative. And so I've seen the structure of the Oxford SU from the inside. And a good deal of this means understanding my current relationship to the sabbatical officers and basically how the whole structure works. So I have reviewed the corporate documents in some level of detail, although obviously I don't have them memorized. I don't think anybody does. So I do have some familiarity with those corporate documents. And also, as I've mentioned, I have previous experience on student union boards. And so I'm sure a lot of that transfers over the relationship between the corporation and the nonprofit or charitable laws that govern it. And so I've got a good deal of familiarity with these things, I think.
Great, thank you for that. So next, again, we'll go to DT.
Thank you. I have studied the Articles of Association of the Student Union, as well as the legal framework of establishing charities in the UK. I have reviewed the 5-year strategic plan of the Student Union and have also gone through the published accounts on the 2018 financial report. It's based on studies of these accounts that I was able to deduce that 21% of the total budget is spent on welfare. Hence, I made my manifesto points encouraging greater investment towards student welfare. Besides, I have a wealth of experience working in governing bodies. I was elected to represent over 100 first-year biochemists. As a course rep, I have spearheaded numerous initiatives to improve student experience and well-being. I currently sit on 4 different committees in the biochemistry and medical sciences departments. I am also elected as the next treasurer of Oxford Women in Business. I can be trusted with overseeing the finances of an institution. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So next we'll go to Isabel.
Hello again. So I haven't looked fully over the governing documents. I have a reasonable idea of how the SU works and how the relationship with trustees work, having spoken to somebody that was a trustee last year, and also having worked with the sabbatical officers on a number of things, including on the campaign with 2 others to get IFLI reopened, and also on kind of the current campaigns on welfare issues and students. But it would be something I'd spend a significant amount of time reading up on and checking I understood everything before starting the role.
Great, thank you so much. So just a reminder for the next round of answers that the question is, how familiar are you with the governing documents of the Oxford SU and its legal obligations as a charitable organisation? So that being said, next we'll go to Machi. Are you there? Has he dropped out of the call? Possibly.
Yeah, looks like.
Okay, so we'll keep going, and then I'm hoping he'll be able to rejoin the call later, and we can come back to him at the end. So next would have been Marcus. So you've got a minute with the question.
Hi again. I've got a good working understanding of the Articles of Association, the bylaws, the union regulations, its financials, and its 5-year strategic plan. But I also have a very functional knowledge of the role from a legal perspective of trustees and of charity directors, having studied them closely before. I've also been an elected member of the student union and several student organisations and committees at different levels back in Australia, variously representing 400, 2,000 and 10,000 students. And finally, I've consulted with union staff about this role, and I'm confident that I can work with them and have the right experience to bring in to make this an effective role representing students for the next year.
Excellent, thank you. So next we'll go to Nelson.
Thank you. So when it comes to the government documents, in interest of transparency, I don't know them off the back of my hand. But when it comes to legal obligations, that is something I can confidently say I do. I am Vice President of Communications at Target Schools, which is part of the Oxford SU. So as part of that role, I had to spend a lot of time getting to know the SU and getting to know the principles of how you manage an organisation like that. And the two things that are the critical things or what's known as the governance jigsaw, published by the Charity Commission, and then just due diligence, just doing what makes sense.
Excellent, cool, thank you very much. So next we'll have Otto.
Thank you for the question. I think the key things. So I've had a chance to read through the broad sort of statements in terms of the terms of reference of the student trustees. I've had a chance to look at the minutes, and I've also, most importantly, had a chance to speak to people who are currently serving as student trustees. So I have a good idea of sort of what the role involves, and also some of the challenges in terms of trying to ensure that the student union is sort of properly held to account. And I've also served in a similar role in various different charities, both where I'm from in London and in Oxford. And so I think I have an idea of what the different things need to be there. But I think the important thing is to be constructive and to aid the functioning of overseeing all these things.
Great, thank you. And so we'll go to Wesley. Machi is just rejoining, and then we'll go to him at the end.
I'm familiar with the governing documents of the student union as the Oxford SU Chair of Council and as a former returning officer of Oxford SU. An important part of my role is interpreting the student union's governing documents. And I know firsthand how these documents guide the day-to-day operations of our student union in practice. I've also served as one of Oxford SU's delegates to the National Union of Students, so I also understand Oxford SU's relationships with other organizations. But beyond my role governing the SU strategy as a student trustee, I feel that trustees also have a platform, and I believe that it is important to use this platform to effect change in the university. So I hope that I can have your vote.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, so Machi should be joining us shortly. I'll just use this opportunity to thank everyone. Your speech has been wonderful. So the election opens tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. That's Tuesday morning, and then closes at 6 p.m. on Thursday. You can view everyone's fantastic manifestos where they set out their credentials and plans for the role of student trustee in more detail, and I highly recommend everyone do that. So I think you'll be able to vote for 3 student trustees who will serve a 1-year term on the SU board of there is not much else. Hopefully Machi will be back soon. So I guess we'll just have to wait for a minute or so. I mean, beyond that, there are elections for, I think, 6 sabbatical officers, with 1 person being elected to each position. So I highly recommend everyone goes onto the SU website, has a look at people's manifesto, checks out the other hustings, and definitely vote in that election because they're really significant to the running of the student union. there was bound to be some sort of technical issue. I guess we got away quite easily.
We can give it like a minute, and then if he's unable to return, we might be able to do something and just add it onto the recording at the end, if that's all right. We'll give it just like 1 minute and just see if he can come back. But if not, we can kind of close it from there.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think it's internet broke. Ah. Okay, I don't think Matthew's going to be able to rejoin, so maybe we'll try another solution or just move on. I'm not sure. So yeah, just once again, thank you everyone. There were some really fantastic answers, and I think any one of you would be fantastic in the role of student trustee. Once again, I'll just encourage everyone to please vote from tomorrow morning on the SU website, where you can see everyone's manifesto. Yeah, it's a really important position, and everyone's worked really hard and given some fantastic speeches. So that's all. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Oh yeah.
Hi. Should I basically I added him on Facebook and just been messaging him.
Okay.
Should I let him know?
Yeah, if you let him know, we've had to just close the hustings just because people have to do things. What we can do, I don't know if you've got what your capacity is this evening. Was it just the one question that he wanted to answer?
Yeah, it was literally 1 minute.
Okay. Have you heard anything back from him? Because I'll have to record it still. That's the only thing.
He said his Wi-Fi's down, and he said doesn't look good. Sorry, I think I'm done, but I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
what to do later.
All right. In that case, I'll let the elections team know, and they'll get in contact to see if they can do anything. But it's just one of those things, I guess. Unfortunately. But thanks so much for sharing. It was really great. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool, no worries.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, Isaac.
Cheers.
See ya.